On tonight's episode of The Finish Line, did the Jets losing to the Miami Dolphins just delay the inevitable? As an ESPN insider claims, if the season ends badly, changes could happen in Miami, and that includes with Mike McDaniel, while a Bleacher Report insider totally contradicts that report with what they put out today. We will talk about all of that, plus more, including heading into the Week 15 game against the Houston Texans. Mike McDaniel faces off against DeMeco Ryans, but has the Shanahan tree figured out Mike McDaniel? We're going to talk about all that and so much more. Do me the favor, smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new, and let's get into this as always.
Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score! Field down the near side, man open. Touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. He's got it for a touchdown. He's in.
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go!
All right, huddle up, huddle up. We're going to crank these engines up on one. All right? Wait, set. Drivers, start your engines.
This is The Finish Line.
I coached some great offensive linemen in the past. Larry Little, Dwight Stevenson, Jim Langer, all Hall of Famers, and Richmond Webb belongs in that same group.
Here are your hosts, legendary Miami Dolphins left tackle Richmond Webb, Reason, and Mr. BallGame.
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one. Appreciate all of you for coming through this evening. As you do, please do us a favor, smash the like button. If you are new around these parts, hit that subscribe button as we're on our way to 20K. Let's get there. Gentlemen, well, hey, we come together under winning circumstances. They've been few and far between this year for us due to like scheduling conflicts, whatever the cases may be. The Dolphins, it wasn't pretty, but they handled their business against the New York Jets in overtime. I mean, the overtime drive from Tua Tagovailoa and Jonnu Smith was pretty. How you feeling coming off a win where the 31st ranked offense took you to the limit, Richmond?
Yeah. Good evening. How everybody doing? You know, for me, it's about the W. And one thing I can say, anytime you play the Jets, it doesn't matter what the record is. Some crazy things can happen. So I expected us to win. I didn't expect us to, go back and forth with the Jets the way we did this past Sunday. So I think offensively we moved the ball good, put up points, but defensively we didn't. We gave up some, I think we gave up too many points or whatever. But I think the encouraging thing to me was, once we got the ball in overtime, to not get them a chance to even, just drive right down and score the touchdown the way we orchestrated that drive. and for the win, this and that. I know everybody's not happy about it, but you got to take the wins when you get them. So it probably wasn't the prettiest thing, but to get another W in the column is always good for your mindset for the week going into the next game. And I know we got the Texans coming up, so I
You'll
will
be there, right?
Huh?
You'll be at
Oh
that
yeah,
game.
yeah. I will be there, and Ashley 305, Miss 305 Sports Bay. She got a little event on Saturday afternoon. I'm gonna stop by there for a little bit, and then I think the Dolphins are bringing some sponsors and sweet holders or something, man. So I'm gonna go to dinner with them Saturday night and then go to the game on Sunday. So I got a action-packed weekend. Glad all of the college football games are kind of chill this weekend. I don't have to worry about that. But yeah, get to hang out with some of the Dolphin family, and I might even try to hit a tailgate. I found out something about that Sunday before the game. So looking forward to it, and then, getting ready for the game Sunday, and hopefully we can continue to do what we've been doing. Is even if it's close or whatever, let's try to get another win. But I'm good. How you doing, Mr. BallGame?
I'm okay. I ain't gonna even act like I'm enamored by what transpired on Sunday, because my mom always told me don't play with your food, and that's exactly what they did. The defense was atrocious. There's no way in the world you can get me to be okay with the fact that Aaron Rodgers went 35 games without throwing over 300 yards, and then here he comes and we give him 300 plus yards.
2021. He hadn't done it since 2021.
Mm-hmm. The inferior team took you to the limits, which is crazy to me. It shouldn't have ever been that case. Shouldn't have ever been that close. So getting the W is always a good thing, but there were so many things, man, still wrong about this process, bro, that just left a bad taste in my mouth. And, to be truthful with you, I just don't know how they're going to fix it. There's got to be some changes somewhere. So, and we'll talk about that a little later, but focus is now the Texans. They did a lot of things that happened, man, for them to win out. Chargers got to start losing a couple games. Broncos and Chargers play each other later, so one of them going to take a L.
And Broncos and Colts play each other this week,
Broncos and Colts play each other, too. So, there's a lot of rooting that we got to do for a lot of other teams that really ain't that good, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But
you kind of want the Broncos last win of the season to be against the Colts, right?
Yeah.
And then you want them to lose out because we don't want the Colts to win because they're ahead of us.
Right. But just amazes me, man, some of the thought processing that goes on. Like, you go through the whole game and you don't even throw to Jonnu, you don't even look at him, and then in the overtime, you hit him with two screens that give you almost 30 yards, you know what I'm saying? And then you throw the touchdown to him, and it's like, why do you have to be in those situations with your back up against the wall to get the ball into the hands of guys that have been proven to be playmakers, right? They just got to be about Tyreek and Waddle. And why this dude still be abandoning the run game, I never understand for the life of me. When you see I don't know, maybe it's just me, but the way I was coached was, if you see too high, you see too high shells, you just run the ball, man, to bring that other safety down in the box. Eventually, they got to move him. They can't keep him up there.
Problem is they can't run the ball.
They got to figure something out. You feel me? I mean, get out of shotgun for one. That'll be the first thing. Because shotgun, whenever you got a running back off to the left or to the right of the running back, it's pretty telling exactly which direction he's going, because all you got is either inside zone or 0-1 trap. The counter going to take too long. We don't have guys that can move that way. So we're not a counter team from the shotgun formation. So it's either inside zone right, inside zone left, and, that limits you. But if you're under the eye, if you get the quarterback back under the center again, you can go any way you want to because ain't no tails to it. And it's a balanced formation. But I just, everybody want to be cute in this shotgun stuff when, like, this time of the year is where you're supposed to be really proving the teams that you're willing to be physical. Our formation ain't never failed, in my opinion.
Well, we run eye, pistol, and shotgun. The problem right now is you're getting no push in that interior. I think the first thing you need to do is send either Robert Jones or Liam Eichenberg back into the bench, and you need to activate and you need to get Isaiah Wynn in the starting lineup. I mean, right now you could tell even Aaron Brewer at times is struggling because of the lack of push. Like, he's getting on the right side of him, And then you got Robert Jones. He's got all the strength in the world, but he doesn't know how to use it. He's not like the problem is you got
horrible, bro.
Well, bro. Well, here's the thing, dude. Robert Jones suits better in a gap scheme, but I think even still, then like like he's a backup at best. Eichenberg doesn't have the anchor for a gap scheme. Doesn't have the power for a gap scheme. Doesn't have the overall technique and fundamentals like hand placement. He's always wide with them. Like he's got like you swipe his hand and it's like, that thing's in Texas. It's out of the way for you, right? So, like you look at him and then he doesn't have the footwork. He doesn't have the speed. He doesn't have the athleticism for a zone scheme. So it's like, what are we doing with Eichenberg here? Why do we keep forcing this right now? And it really shows up in those 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Like, I don't know if you guys saw this, but we are the worst team statistically since 2022 in 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 situations. And it's not coming down to having a mobile quarterback, because guess who number 1 is in that span? The LA Rams. And they're not exactly asking Stafford to go out there and run around and convert 1 yard gains with quarterback sneaks. That's not their style. We're the interior is so weak, and it starts with the guards. I mean, we already know how undersized Aaron Brewer is. I think he's got a pretty good anchor for a guy his size, and the quickness we don't got to talk about. He's pretty fundamentally sound. All that stuff is good, but it's going to be highlighted. The fact that he's undersized is going to be highlighted when you got 2 guys next to him in Eichenberg and Robert Jones. Like, that's just where we're at right now. And, listen, if you're going to let Tyreek walk and you're going to let Chubb walk, do not send that $20 million towards Javon Holland. Put that $20 million into some guards.
Facts.
Go beat this shit up. Like, for real. Like, what are we waiting on, man? You just got this, we traded up and we traded up for Liam Eichenberg, and because we used an extra 3rd round pick to move up, and Creed Humphrey was picked a couple spots behind him, we have to make it look like we got this right. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to re-sign this clown as a depth piece. That's exactly what's going to happen. I've never seen a guy look like Mr. Incredible, and his play is the furthest thing from incredible. It's unbelievable, bro.
That's the ego associated with the pick.
Yeah, bro, and that's a Greer thing, and it's been this way for a minute. People want to sit here and say, McDaniel had to come here and get Tua right. No. They looked at McDaniel and they said, you got to get Eichenberg and Austin Jackson right. And Austin Jackson had the traits, and you knew he could. Eventually,
he was going to be something.
Yeah. When we got McDaniel, I told everyone, he's not going to be a bust anymore. He's going to be good. This scheme suits him. But I kept telling people, do not expect that with Eichenberg. He's just got no traits. The guy's got dinosaur arms. Yeah. He's not athletic. He's got slow feet. His fundamentals and technique are trash and have been trash since Notre Dame. What are you expecting from this guy? And you talk about ego ball game.
Yeah, you can't.
You think this guy was going to be good enough to even live up to half of what Robert Hunt was? The audacity.
That's true.
Man.
That's true.
Because I'm going to look at that room and I got to say, guys, whoever's making these calls, I'm supposed to trust you to scout. I am supposed to trust you to develop players when you can't see from a mile away what these guys are.
They need to steal away from somehow Detroit's scouting team, man.
Richmond being quiet because you don't want to lose a spot on the Ring of Honor right now.
Good catch.
No, Detroit is a different beast.
They can pick dogs, man.
They run out the I formation and they just hit you in the mouth.
That's football.
Yeah, okay.
They're built different. They're built different than we are too, though.
They are. So let's start with that. 110%. Where was Taylor Decker drafted? First round.
Okay.
Okay. First round, Taylor Decker. Where was Penei Sewell drafted?
First round.
Yeah. Okay. Right. You see, you guys are already starting to pick up the theme here of where we're going right now, right? You got a 16th overall pick in Decker. You got a what was it, 7 or 8 in Sewell? Seventh, right? 7th pick in Sewell. Okay. Now let's not stop there because it gets even better from there. Look, let's go to their center. Do you guys remember? Frank Ragnow?
Frank Ragnow. Yeah.
Okay. Do you know where he was drafted?
I would say maybe I don't recall. Maybe top of the
First
second
round.
Was it first rounder as well?
First round pick, bro. They picked him 20th overall. Their center, they picked 20th overall. Okay. You see the theme we're going here already? Okay. Kevin Sieler. Now they got him from Baltimore, right? But where was again? Talk about another guy. Where was Kevin Sieler drafted? Again, he's a 34-year-old guy who's been around the league, and he was drafted 27th overall in the first round, like BallGame said.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I believe the only I want to say Graham Glasgow is the only non-first round pick, and he was picked in the 3rd round. So you've got 4 first rounders and a 3rd rounder, and
pretty good average.
The tight end that can block or be a threat in the pass game.
Laporta
drafted in the 2nd round, right? Was he? No, 1st round, wasn't he?
They were so confident though. Think about it though. But think about it. They were so confident that they could get their guy in Laporta that they let Hawkinson go.
2nd round, yeah, he's 2nd round, 34th overall.
He's an Iowa kid, right?
Yeah, buddy. I love the Iowa guys.
They're tough. Yeah.
The kid coming out this year was the kid I was in love with last year too. Luke Lachey is coming out this year, the Iowa kid.
Yeah.
And I like me some Nick Bolton, Iowa linebacker. I like that kid coming out this year, Jay Higgins. I like me some Iowa, man. I like tough.
Football is different up there.
Blue-collared football players come out of Iowa, and you need those to win, baby. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't have to teach that.
Eat your muffin and listen to that, Richmond. All right. Yay. I ain't knocking Texas A&M. You came out of there.
No, but
my boy A-Chan came out of there, who everyone knew I was way out ahead of.
You put a few out every now and then. But the thing is, I think we've all said and agree, offensive and defensive line, that's where the game starts at. That's where if you can't win the line of scrimmage,
it's a problem.
It's going to be.
What's one of the oldest, most cliche adages ever attached to the game of football? Games are won and lost in the trenches. Yep. That's literally one of the oldest, most cliche adages you can use. And guess what? Fancy motions may change, coverages, disguises may change, but there are certain things about the game of football that will never win, that will never change. You can win with a damn good run game. You can win with an elite defense. And games are won and lost in the trenches, especially when you get into the playoffs and cold weather situations.
Yep.
Just go ask the 1990s Miami. Go ask Richmond Webb's teammates about what Thurman Thomas used to do to them, about games won and lost in the trenches. Jim Kelly didn't beat the Miami Dolphins. Thurman Thomas and their defense beat the Miami Dolphins. No offense. I'm just saying, hey,
Fact, it's in the record books. You can't lie about that. It's
brother, you made me cry. I'll never forget you.
They gave a man a whole nickname. He went thermal on him.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. It was never Jim Kelly. He could throw the torch to Dan, or he could stop. That was never the issue. It was they were built to be a playoff team and a cold weather team. And when you're built to be a cold weather team, you're built to be a playoff team.
Because off the rock.
You run the ball and you play hard-nosed, good defense with gap integrity. And guess what? If you can stop the run and you can run the ball, and that was our problem, right? Richmond would be the first to tell you we weren't running the ball enough. Right?
Yep.
We needed Kareem in the early 90s, huh? Kareem the Dream. And then I just went to Kareem Abdul, and he was never the same. I know you remember that. Were you in the locker room when you got served those papers? Were you really?
He was on the team. I don't know if I actually saw him get served the papers, but I just like the thing I did find out was the guy that named him named the basketball player. So they got when they converted to Muslim.
Oh, Islam.
Same guy, Islam. Yeah, the same guy that named the basketball player named him. So I'm like, why to me it's
why
like,
you taking on the kid? Yeah.
Yeah. Why you tripping? It's like What's the likelihood
Yeah.
somebody had your name? But yeah, it was crazy. Yeah.
He was never the same after that, huh? It was like the aura was lost.
That might have been his rookie year because, and the sad part, he played at UCLA. So I'm like, you right in LA with him if it was an issue.
Yeah.
Why not say them then and wait till you get to the league to, but hey,
right.
just okay.
Yeah. All right, we got over 300 people watching right now on YouTube. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. Let's get into this. So it starts off with today, and it starts off with this report from Dan Graziano out of ESPN. He said, again, this is outside speculation from people I'm talking to around the league rather than anything that definitely will or should happen, but some have their eye on Miami and wonder whether there's a change if things end badly this season, though Mike McDaniel did sign an extension in August. So you got Dan Graziano, him and Jeremy Fowler always do this reporting. They always do these rumors, these weekly roundup rumors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you go over to Bleacher Report, what had happened here was one of their insiders, I believe his name is, I want to say it's Jesse Palmer for Bleacher Report. No, not to be confused with, no, it's Jordan. What is it? James Palmer. No, it's James Palmer. James Palmer. Not to be confused with Jesse Palmer, the former quarterback. Okay, this is James Palmer. And this is what these guys change insiders like they change underwear. 1 month it's Schultz, the next guy it's this guy. I don't think they can just afford the big boys. I don't know what's going on. But anyways, this is what James Palmer said about the McDaniel situation.
Another name which would be fascinating is Mike McDaniel down in Miami. Asked somebody down there who said, quote, I would be stunned. Have they struggled against teams? Yes. Have they struggled against teams in cold temperatures? Yes. Did he sign a new contract at the start of this season? With Tua Tagovailoa, are they one of the better offenses in all of football? Yes. I was told kind of this morning, what's the biggest issue that they had? The biggest issue they had was that they didn't properly prepare themselves with a backup quarterback behind Tua in a player that is very talented, but also very injury prone. And we also have to put the point out there is this offense is specifically designed for Tua Tagovailoa. He's left-handed. Progressions go in actually the opposite direction than they would for a right-handed quarterback. The way he goes through reads, everything is designed for him to go through it the opposite direction of a right-handed quarterback. It just is built to fit him specifically. And since Tua's come back, this offense has been outstanding. Do they have a chance to make the postseason? Yeah. They need to win in Houston for sure this week, keep those chances alive. But there's one coach in the history of the Dolphins that went to the playoffs in each of his first 3 seasons, Don Shula. Mike McDaniel, if he gets to the postseason this year, would do that. And obviously he gets to the postseason. He's not under the hot seat. But my point is he's done it twice already. Has it been exactly what they wanted to? No. But he's much safer than maybe some of the rumors are out there, to my understanding.
So there you go. He's out here saying that Mike McDaniel is much safer than some of the rumors out here are circulating. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Because, gentlemen, I'm not going to lie to you. When we were losing to the Jets, I didn't think Monday morning was going to go very well for someone in that building, and it could have potentially been Mike McDaniel, because here's my thing. There's a ripple effect. If you fire Mike McDaniel, you have to fire Chris Grier. You're not going to let Chris Grier get the chance at a 4th head coach. That's like unprecedented territory. But sticking with McDaniel here, I thought if we lost that Jets game, it was not going to end well Monday morning for one of those two, or maybe even both of them. What are your guys' thoughts on Dan Graziano saying that if this season ends badly, and I assume by ending badly, it means, let's say we lose these next 2 games, we beat the Browns, but then we lose to the Jets, and all of a sudden, you finish this game, this season 7-10, losing 3 of your last 4, 2 of them to the good teams remaining on your schedule, and the 3rd to a team that just pushed you to the brink at home. That's the 31st ranked offense. What are your guys' takeaways from this? Because obviously Graziano is a little bit more established than Palmer. Let's start with you, BallGame. Where are you at with this?
Well, initially, I did think that if they lost to them, there would have to be some changes because you don't want to wait and drag out the rest of the season behind some foolishness that could have been prevented. But the win, I believe, and the way they fought back to get the win, kind of saved them to some degree. And I don't necessarily know if I'm ready to walk 100% completely away from Mike because I've always been one that I don't really fault someone for not knowing what they don't know. You know what I mean? And I know that he's limited in his experience as a coach. I just question who's around him that's not coaching him up while he's trying to coach the team. And to some degree, maybe he just needs to walk away from some of the responsibilities that he's trying to do. Because he's not LaFleur. He's not in any of his other buddies yet, right? And they had to learn as well. So those guys have a lot more experience of doing the play calling duties before they became head coaches in other spaces and whatnot. Mike was just a run game coordinator. So there's a big, huge gap in what he knows and what they know. And I know competition runs deep in him. He wants to be the best, but sometimes you have to be real with yourself and just say, listen, man, I'm struggling. I need some help, right? And to some degree, I think Greer and them, they do know that there is a learning gap for him. And, you know, it's playing out right in front of us. And that was one of my biggest concerns all along with Mike was not his brilliance. I know the guy's smart. I know he knows football, but how well is he going to perform in those spaces when it's time for him to get out of his own way? And unfortunately, to date, I think he's been one of the biggest issues because, you know, you're standing over there in crucial situations with that damn call sheet wasting time while the time is clicking and working against you. You feel me? When somebody else up in the box could be doing that and you just handle the stuff that you need to handle on Sundays as a head coach. You don't see most head coaches standing on the sideline calling plays. Most don't do that to the playoffs. And he's got to decide what's most important. My ego, I'm the one running this offense, getting too out here with the stats, or I'm the one that's orchestrating and helping us get the wins because I'm doing my job as a head coach and I'm not concerned about the X's and the O's of it all because I got somebody that I trust to do that for me. You know, that win probably staved off a lot of the questions that they probably going to have if we had lost. But I still think it needs to be a discussion of how they're going to structure things around him if he's the guy that they want to stick with moving forward. Got to take the ego out of the room, and you got to just be honest and upfront with him. There's a lot that he still has to learn, and the organization needs to either rally around that and put protocols in place to ensure that he learns what he needs to learn and doesn't hurt the team anymore by what he doesn't know, or just, you know, I don't know, it's tough. Because I think he's a likable guy, but he may be too much of what maybe he's not enough of what we actually need because you're never gonna get away from that. They're soft if he's being their friend, because you know that's why I always say you're supposed to do business with family and friends because people take you for granted and they don't give you the 100% effort. It's kind of like guys with their wives going to work. You know what I'm saying? You catch hell at home from your wife, but she go to work and don't never question the boss type of shit. You know what I mean? So it's human nature, man. Some things just don't make sense. And even in football, even though it's a simple game that we play, there has to be structure. There has to be understanding of respect and who's in charge. I care about your well-being, but I need you to do your job. Otherwise, you're going to be out of here type of thing. Yeah. And I don't see that from him. I don't see the urgency. So,
what do you think, Richmond?
I think, BallGame hit on some major points. I think the thing to kind of just build off the top of what he was saying, the other thing I noticed, definitely for sure, this game, that maybe last home game, there's a lot of empty seats in the stadium. The stadium is not as full as it was, and when people stop coming to the games, that's not a good thing. So, first those stands, but then, you got like your suite and your club seat owners and that, and a lot of time that affects your bottom line. And you don't want to alienate the fan base to where I think when you possibly gonna have to make some changes to kind of turn this thing around, I think that's gonna have to be done. I do agree with BallGame that Mike McDaniel is a young coach. Like you said, he was a run game coordinator out at San Francisco, and I thought last year when they brought in Fangio, I thought that was one of the reasons they brought him in, because he was a older guy, had been a head coach, and could kind of mentor him. But for whatever reason, that didn't work out. But you got to have somebody that's going to be true with you, whether you don't like what they're saying or not. You need that voice you can listen to and say, "Hey, man, what am I doing?" We say, "Hey, you're screwing up, or you need to do this, you need to do that." You need to have somebody that's going to be honest with you instead of just telling you, "Oh, you're doing a great job," this and that. So I think some changes will be made. I don't know if it'll be the head coach or whatever, but definitely if we kind of end the season on a sour note, I think it'll be easier to justify that we've got to make some changes because we're underperforming, and all the people we've brought in, and like this year, you look at Waddle and Tyreek, they hadn't had the type of years, the expectations. Everything's kind of been thrown off, and things hadn't been maximized. So we need somebody coming there where we can reach our full potential, and then, like you say, erase some of these notions that we're a soft team, can't win on the road, can't win in cold weather, this and that. So I could see some possible changes possibly being made. So we just have to wait and see. But yeah, it's definitely some seats that's hot in the building. I just don't know which ones, but yeah, I can see that.
Let me ask you this: does it feel like, because I mentioned how, it's, for me at least, it felt like we were minutes away from potentially seeing a coaching change and a GM change on Monday morning. We look at this schedule, we got to go to Houston this week, then we got to come home and face San Fran, then we got to go on the road and close out in Cleveland and New York. And after what New York just showed against us, do you guys feel like that win over the Jets just delayed the inevitable? Because it kind of feels like the minimum requirement for this year was to win a playoff game, and if you don't even make the playoffs, which we're one loss away from basically, being out of the race. Do you guys feel like that Jets win might have delayed the inevitable, Richmond?
Like you said, I'm happy we won, but we're not playing our best football. And I know when we come to here in Houston to play the Texans, DeMeco's going to have those guys. They've got some offensive line issues as well. They hadn't been able to protect their quarterback as well. But the defense, typically, they try to get after you, and they try to play physical. And then you got the 49ers, and, yeah, they've been beat up and stuff. But, if you kind of look at the schedule, and even Cleveland, Jameis Winston's, they compete, but they kind of hang together and they play tough. So it's not an easy road. And I think the thing – and I understand what you're saying, because when you struggle against a team that you figure, we probably should have won by at least, 7-10 points easily, and to have that team take us to overtime and then take us to overtime while we're playing in our own stadium, that's nothing to put a feather in your hat or hang your hat on and say, okay, yeah, we're playing really good football. We should be playing better. I think that's the thing, and I think that's what not only we see, but I think the fans see it as well. So you try to remain optimistic, but I don't know, bro. It's not. I don't think it's going to be easy playing here in Houston, and I think Cleveland's going to be a tough game, and I think even the 49ers, because
they all got something to play for.
They got something to play for, but DeMeco, you on the same staff, so you want to be competitive, this and that, and then you playing your mentor when you play the 49ers, and Cleveland, even though I watched that game, they lost to Pittsburgh, but they still try to compete and get after you. So it's not going to be easy. It's not like we got a cakewalk into it. And I just don't like being in a position where you don't have no room or no margin of error. That's the thing that kind of concerns me about this last stretch. So that's why I kind of say it's some seats that's hot. I just don't know how it's going to play out, but I'm definitely concerned.
What do you think, BallGame?
It would have been we would have been having a whole different conversation if there had been a plan put in place to ensure that, we was really built the way we were supposed to be built to endure injuries and things of that nature. I think there has to be inevitably be some changes, right? I think I think even at the, every coach needs to be reevaluated. Some are good at what they do. Most aren't great, right? And there's 3 phases for a reason. Special teams need to be adjusted. That guy's got to go. That coach has to get out of there, man. That's the worst. That's the worst of the groups. I'm willing to, look at Weaver and try to figure out kind of what he needs to be a little bit more effective. You know what I'm saying? I get that this is his real first time on his own, not under the Harbaughs, next to Harbaugh to be doing them things, but he's got to be a little bit more intentional as well. And I just think across the board that if there has to be some shaking of the cabinets, right, to rattle folks' feathers, man. Everybody a little too safe, in my opinion. Every player from top to bottom and every coach from top to bottom needs to be reevaluated to figure out where the issues are, because no one can say right now that there aren't many. There's quite a few, right? And the unfortunate thing is that when one leak pops up, 2 or 3 others seem to be right behind them, following, and then we go to try to plug one, and that's not the way, right? We just talked about it. The way Detroit built their O-line, that's how you prevent leaks, so you can address other areas with the best of your assets that you have to, with the best that you have in terms of money to get the best assets possible for fielding this team. Just thinking that guys are going to eventually figure it out and that you can take chances and stuff. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, and that seems to be consistent with Greer, right? We'll get it just good. Why not get it great type of thing? And I think that Mike needs to, he needs to be feel uncomfortable. Nobody's job should be so secure that they don't feel like they need to change anything, because then everything becomes just so routine that you really stop caring about putting your best foot forward. So if you start from the top and shake the tree at the top, then all of the dead fruits seem to fall off anyway. That's how it happens in nature. That's how it needs to happen now. And then you go through, and you have hard, honest conversations with people. Right? You tell Javon Holland, you're not a $20 million a year safety, bro. It is what it is. Maybe somebody else will give you that, but we can't give you that here because that's not what your performance has been. All sorts of things. Have a conversation with Jalen too. You are who you were at one point, what we thought you were going to be, but Father Time is undefeated, and we need to reevaluate what your role is going to be moving forward as well. Tyreek, if he stays, all these different things, man. But yeah, did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There's just so many things, man. Like and none of us saw this, right? None of us anticipated it being this dysfunctional, right? Like there's nobody could have told me. I was even last week, I was kind of like, okay, what's the Jets?
Yeah.
But damn, bro, they have to go in overtime with them.
Well, that's the thing. You know what I say? This is what I say. The next 2 weeks, we're gonna find out. Did you barely beat a bad team, or did you escape with a tough win against a division rival?
Right.
The next 2 weeks are going to show us what you barely beat a bad team or you escaped a tough division rival. Because I was going to ask you this. Richmond kind of touched on it, but you look at McDaniel versus the Shanahan tree, specifically Shanahan, McVay, LaFleur, and Robert Saleh, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now he's got to face DeMeco Ryans this week. You look at him against Shanahan, right? He's 1-1 against he's 0-1 against Shanahan. I apologize. He lost to Shanahan in 2022. He lost 33-17.
Mm-hmm.
He's 0-2 against LaFleur, right? Lost in 2022, and now he lost in 2024. Against Robert Saleh, he was 1-4. Remember, he had that one loss in 2022. Did McDaniel when Skylar Thompson and Teddy Bridgewater were the quarterbacks?
Right.
And then you look against the Rams, he's 1-0 against the Rams. But when you dive into the numbers, the Dolphins have played 47 regular season games in McDaniel's 3 seasons with the Dolphins. Under McDaniel, they're averaging about 24.6 points per game. Against Shanahan tree disciples, that drops down to 22 points per game. They're averaging about 6 yards per game per play over the 47 games under McDaniel. In their 8 games against the McDaniel peers, they dropped down to 5.5 yards per play. Their 39.1 conversion rate on third down across those 47 games drops to about 38.5 against the Shanahan tree. The conversion rate in the red zone drops from 61.7% in the 47 games McDaniel's coached against Shanahan tree. It drops to 47.8. And his winning percentage against over the 47 games is about .553. Against the Shanahan tree, he's 500. So now he's got to face the Shanahan tree over the next 2 games. And what does history tell us? That one number I just threw out there, he's 500 against
500.
So what does that tell us?
Got to punch his chance.
Yeah, but there's also a good chance that we're gonna win one and lose one out of these next 2. That loss that breaks the back of our playoff dreams is probably going to be coming in these next 2 games. What are your guys' thoughts on McDaniel up against the Shanahan tree? Because no problem against LA, but man, it didn't look good against Green Bay.
No, it didn't look good at all. And the way, I think the way we started that game, the muff punt, we fumbled that definitely didn't help. And then by the time we got going, we was down 2 touchdowns, 17 points, and you just can't dig a hole like that, especially on the road, and expect to come out of it. I think the thing I have seen is he's trying to stick with the run a little bit more and kind of spreading it around. And like BallGame said with Smith, why did it take till overtime till we see him? He's been real productive in this offense, and I think it seems like this year, it seemed like he's starting to kind of make adjustments where it seemed like before, like last year before, he would just stick with his offense, go in, and didn't seem like we made many adjustments when they would take away, the routes or play us a certain way to where those routes wouldn't be open. It seemed like he's making those adjustments, but it's got to be done. It's just I know what you're saying. I'm just trying to come up with some words to justify it, but it's
not good. I know you're talking about that balance. I mean, they had 67 yards against the Rams, 67 yards against the Raiders, 65 against New England, 39 against Green Bay, and 44 against the Jets, was it? I believe. Well, let me just make sure here.
That's not enough 44. Of a commitment to me.
Yeah, they had 2.3 yards per carry. The problem right now, they had 19 carries, but the problem was they had 2.3 yards per carry. They had 14 carries against Green Bay. Now, the problem we're running into, gentlemen, right now with running the football is this. Go back to that Buffalo game. You know how close it was and how good of a game Tua played. Mm-hmm. We had 149 rushing yards. If you don't have those 149 rushing yards and only have 49, even with as good of a game Tua played, you probably lose by 10. I mean, we haven't had – check this one out. First of all, we have yet to have a 100-yard rusher in a game this season. A-Chance came the closest in week 8. He had 97. But you also haven't had 100 yards collectively as a unit since week 9 against Buffalo. You haven't had over 100 yards in like 5 weeks. And guess what? We're getting into the December months where it's cold and then the playoffs come. And what were we talking about earlier? You got to do in cold weather and in the playoffs. You got to run the rock.
You got to run the rock. Yeah.
And right now, the game, that's why I'm saying stop playing the games. If he isn't ready and you activated him a little early just to avoid him being out, I understand it, which I've heard he didn't look right in the pregame warm up against New England. But if he's ready to go, Isaiah Wynn needs to be in there right now. Yeah. Like there needs to be no ifs, ands, or buts. You need to get his legs under him during this little run here. And that's just a fact of the matter. This team can't run the rock, boys.
Yeah.
And it's a problem. And we would have lost by more points. I don't know if you guys knew this. Tua Tagovailoa had the second highest passing play EPA in a game against a McDermott-coached Buffalo Bills team, and they lost. Guess what? That game was in Week 9. Up until Week 9, that game, Tua had the 9th highest EPA per play of any quarterback in that season. The 8 guys in front of him all won their games. You know why we lost? Our defense put up the 22nd worst EPA per play ever against the McDermott Buffalo Bills team since 2017. And our special teams, since 2017 when McDermott started coaching them, our special teams put up the 7th worst EPA per play ever. And what do we keep seeing? Tua's having good games against Arizona, against Buffalo, against Green Bay. What's happening?
Defense
Either special teams or the defense is letting you down. To pick your poison right now. Look at, we can't get them to play a full 60 minutes of football against the Jets. Are you kidding me? 31st ranked offense. This guy hasn't thrown for over 300 yards since 2021. He hasn't thrown for over 200 yards since Halloween, and you let him just light you up.
And Garrett Wilson was eating
you. Yo, boys, conversation needs to be had. Maybe we got the answer at safety in-house. Maybe you got to move Ramsey to safety.
There it is. I said that. I said that early on in the season.
The age looks like brother. Did you see that out and up where he like literally lost his balance and fell on the ground? And the one where he led Garrett Wilson out of bounds, where he caught the ball, but he was led out of bounds. Go watch the replay if you haven't seen it, Richmond. Ramsey fell on that play. He bit hard on the outs, and then when he stemmed it up, he was gone, and Ramsey was on the ground. That's why he's wide open. Ramsey was trailing him all game, and that's a couple times this season. You want to check this out, boys? You ready for it to smack you in the face? Jalen Ramsey allowed 146 yards in coverage.
Facts.
That's like the most he's allowed in it was either 2 or 3 years. Yeah, he got cooked pretty hard. You know what I mean? So tough one. Shout out. I gotta give him his props. We gotta give this man his props because he's been one of the hearts of this team and definitely the heart of the defense. Shout out to Zach Sieler. He got named Defensive Player of the Week. He had 4 tackles, 2 of them solo, 2 assists. He had 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss. I mean, the guy was just an absolute monster. And in that game in total, he had 4 pressures, the second most of the season, only second to he had 5 against Seattle in week 3. So shout out to Zach Sieler being named Defensive Player of the Week. What do you guys think of man? You know, it's really come down to that defense, that front, boys. If Chop, Sieler, or Calais and Calais on a snap count, if they aren't wreaking havoc.
They're the only ones out there, man, that you can say without a shadow of a doubt are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing, bro.
Yeah. What do you think about Steelers' play this year, Richmond?
He come to work regardless. He's a consummate pro. You can definitely count on him, when he hits the field. And you can definitely tell when he was hurt, when he wasn't in there, it was a big drop-off. So I think that was one of the things they got right was re-signing him. But I've always liked the way he comes to work to play, and he puts it on the line every time he's out there on the field. He's one of the leaders on this team, and yeah, I love him. He don't get a lot of recognition most of the time, so for him to get this, definitely well deserving. But yeah, he comes to work every time, and he's not looking for somebody to pat him on the back and come to work. That's what you're supposed to do. So I love the way he played.
Brother, you gave me 9 of him, 5 across the offensive front, and 4 across the defensive front. We'd be set. What are you eating on, BallGame? What's this guy eating on?
Don't never share. He don't never share.
This guy delivery. Look, it even gets the drink delivered to him.
Man, this dude here, man. What happened to the team, bro? You talking all this team stuff, and you over there just study chewing.
No, the only team is his family that he's made for him to wait on him hand and foot. That's the only team over here. You're muted.
You're muted.
I paid the cost to be the boss, man.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. Another thing too today, Dolphins designate Grant DuBose to return. 20-day practice window began today. The team can bring back 8 players off IR during a season, and DuBose becomes the 7th firm commitment. Chubb and Good won't count towards that number. Speaking of Chubb, boys, this was Chubb today at practice getting in the work. I wanted to ask you guys, DuBose, I mean, you guys saw a little bit of him early on. Other than special teams, I mean, what's the point of wasting an activation spot on a guy like Grant DuBose? You know, I mean, hey, Craycraft, listen, you know what I've been saying. I don't know if you've heard what I've said. There's got to be real conversation had. Does Craycraft deserve the opportunity that OBJ's getting right now? Because that guy ain't doing a damn thing with anything. He can't separate. His hands are suspect in coverage right now. When he's covered right now. Anyways, what do you guys think about wasting another spot on Grant DuBose, but also Bradley Chubb returning? I'm trying to temper my expectations. I only expect this guy to be at 60-70% at best. I can't believe they're trying to hype us up about Cam Good too. But ball game defense is your baby. What do you think?
Put him on a snap count and cross your fingers. That's about all. That's the mindset I'm having with it, because I don't know how well that rehab went and how well he's going to be conditioned and all those different things. If he can give you maybe 4 or 5, anywhere between maybe 8 to 10 plays a game right now at this point. That's a step in the right direction, but I mean, my expectations are extremely low.
Let me ask you this, ball game. Do you look at 60-70% of Chubb as better than anything we have opposite of Chop right now?
Yeah, because I'd say unfortunately, yeah, only because I'm a little disappointed in the fact that Agba hasn't shown up, man. Like that's been a real disappointment.
It's been very hit or miss, yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be a little bit more of a stable piece to be able to work around him and what name, Bowser?
Well, Bowser's hurt. Quentin Bell.
Yeah,
that hype for Quentin Bell in the offseason.
Yeah, I didn't have no. Yeah, I had no. You know, what I'm saying, hell, he was 56 overall on Madden for a reason. So
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Damn near 29 years old. The dude's just not that good, man. To be honest with you. You know, he looks great against subpar, you know what I'm saying, subpar competition, but when you put him up against the starters, he's gone. He's out of there. He's washed away. So.
Richmond, you've had to come back from, pretty serious injuries. What are you expecting Chubb to be at from a guy who just tore his ACL last December?
Yeah, I think definitely in pass rush situations, putting him opposite Chubb, that way he kind of gets acclimated back in, and you can gradually work him a little bit more each time. But if you can just put him in pass rush situations, he should be pretty fresh. And I think they'll take some pressure off of Chubb, because, like you said, if Agba's not getting pressure from one side, it forces you to kind of say, okay, who we going to go after? Because I guess teams you still got to respect Chubb, because even though he's coming back off of an injury, he has the capability to put pressure on the quarterback. And they say, yeah, he's coming back. He might not be the same, but every now and then you can't tell if he gets, a good jump off the ball. He still has the hands and the technique and stuff like that. So I would be looking to play him in like nickel situations and just tell him, hey, if you need a break, raise your hand up and you rotate guys in there, because on defense you gotta rush, then you gotta chase the ball, rush, and he could get winded pretty quick, because it's different than going through stuff in practice. But when you got to get in game shape and you've been out this long, he's gonna hit that wall, or he's gonna get a little winded and just spell them and just say, hey, ain't no big deal. You get wind to come out, get yourself, and we'll get you back in there. That's how I would be looking to use him to try to get get him in there to make some plays and stuff. So that's the way I'll be looking to use him.
People are asking in the hold on a sec, BallGame. People are asking in the chat, who would you cut? I would cut Jack Stoll, that tight end we brought in and we haven't even used. We don't even need him. Go ahead, BallGame. What were we gonna say?
Well, I just think the craziest thing, if you think about it, bro, like I think we had it all backwards for the longest time. I think the best athletes or the most conditioned athletes in the NFL are the offensive linemen, because they don't get no breaks.
Yeah,
they got to be out there the entire game.
Yeah.
How many
Look
times
at the weight they got to carry around.
Exactly. So
yeah.
You know, that's always that would be my thing to any defensive player. You win it, you need to come out the game.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and go ahead and give your helmet to the trainer and we'll holler at you.
Yeah, exactly.
Offensive linemen don't get no breaks. So
he's right.
I hear what you're saying, but I just know, like, most defenses, once they get over normally like 65 plays, especially if they've been running the ball, because everybody is taught to run to the ball, whether you make the tackle or not. So I think you just exert a lot more energy. And once you get tired, it ain't like you can, take a play off. Once they're spent, they're spent.
I
noticed that, and you can lean on them, and then you get them going.
You want to cut them some slack, huh?
Especially those big boys on the inside, they get real slack.
No slack all game.
They are getting paid premium dollars.
Yeah. How much you're making more money today for those 65 snaps than most people make in a year? Like real talk.
I'm not cutting them nothing.
No slack from BallGame. All right, 1 minute each. And Richmond, your thoughts on what you saw from Patrick Paul, and your thoughts on the Texans game this weekend and how it goes.
I like what I've seen from Patrick Paul. I mean, he seems aggressive, and he hadn't had many opportunities, but when he's in there, I just love the way he kind of gives effort and stuff like that. So I think we have our future left tackle, barring he gets injured or whatever like that. I think, like they said, Teron Armstead is talking about retirement. I don't know if he'll want to try to get another year or two. Maybe he'll reassess that after the season. I don't know if they had those conversations, this and that, but I'm really impressed with that young man. Like you said, if you can get the middle shored up with, even if it's Paul and Jackson on the outside and shore up the middle, make a couple of changes. It's not like you got to scrap the whole offensive line, I think. But it's just, if you can solidify that interior, it's a game changer. So definitely happen with him. I think this is going to be a tough game. I think this is a game that we need to start, and we need to be able to move the football and from the jump start, take the crowd out of it and everything. And like y'all said earlier, we got to win at least 2 out of the 3 phases: offense, defense. I prefer to win those 2 than like saying special teams or one of the others, but we got to win 2 phases of the game. And I think we need to set the tone early in order to, try to take this game. And I think that not only helps our offense, I think it helps our defense, especially if we can put them in a situation where they have to hopefully abandon the run, because they run the ball pretty good and stuff like that. So
Joe Mixon, baby.
That's my thought process.
Okay, BallGame. Richmond cut in your time. You literally got about a minute. They missed 11 tackles this past week after missing 23, both according to PFF the week before. Next Gen had us at 20 missed. You got Joe Mixon. You got Nico Collins. You got CJ Stroud this week. How do you see it going?
Well, the Texans are still dangerous, and I think everything with this defense comes down to the thing I preach more than anything else: alignment of assignment and fundamentals. I hate when guys out here try to play off just pure athleticism because you make mistakes, because at the end of the day, it's the fundamentals that prolong careers, and it puts people in position to be considered true professionals. That's what got you there, knowing the techniques, exercising techniques over and over again, and sticking to them. The thing about it is that the Texans will be, and as long as DeMeco's there, they're going to be a physical team. So we either gonna if the mindset's not right to match the physicality that they're going to bring to the game, then it's over before it even gets started. And that for certain is that team personifies and embodies all of who their coach is, mentally, physically. His tough nose, hard coach, hard guy, nice demeanor, but at the same time, he's a defensive guy first. So he expects you to hit people, see what their linebacker did to Trevor Lawrence. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, So our guys gotta strap it on, man, and be ready to go.
All right, everyone. I will be back later this week on Friday for the preview show. I will let y'all know if I'll be back tomorrow because you'll see me live if I'm back. Neil's out in Bahamas right now. So smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new on the way out. Well over 350 of you in the room right now. Appreciate all of you coming through. And we will see all of you on the next one. Until then, you already know what time it is. Fins up all day, every day. Have a fantastic evening, everyone.